What's going on? YouTube. Listen up, young elder gang. This is Jabari Stanford at you with another banger. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. Fam. I hope this video get at least 100,000 likes in this video. You will find history definitions, scripture information, and best of all, what we Americans have been deprived of from the beginning. The truth, keep in mind, this content used in this video is intended for entertainment, educational and informational purposes only, and does not constitute legal advice or create an attorney-client relationship. You should not act upon any information on this site without seeking the advice of a competent attorney for your specific situation. We will give you the total truth as we best understand it today. Be sure to hit that like button, young elder gang. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Hit that bell, and don't forget to check back with us every day for new content. Imagine a vast and bountiful land, a magnificent estate stretching from sea to shining sea. This land, rich with resources and promise, belonged to a great matriarch. We call her Big Mama. This was her home, her legacy, her gift to her children. The soil was fertile, the rivers ran pure, and the mountains stood as silent guardians. This was not just a piece of property. It was a living, breathing entity. It was an inheritance meant to sustain generations, a sacred trust passed down through time. This is the story of that grand estate. It is the story of its light and its encroaching darkness. The estate, known in ancient times as West Amexem, was a sprawling domain. It included the lands we now call North and South America, and even beyond. Big Mama's children lived in harmony with this land. They understood its rhythms and respected its power. They were its custodians, not its conquerors. Ownership was a shared concept, a communal bond with the earth itself. There were no fences dividing what was meant to be whole. The wealth of the land was the wealth of all her descendants. This was the original state of affairs, a time of balance and natural order. But shadows began to creep across this idyllic landscape. Strangers arrived on its shores, their eyes filled with a different kind of hunger. They did not see a sacred home. They saw unclaimed resources. They did not understand the language of the earth. They spoke the language of contracts and commerce. Their arrival marked the beginning of a long and subtle war. A conflict not always fought with swords and guns, but with ink, paper, and deceptive words. This was the dawn of a new era, one where the very concept of ownership would be twisted and used as a weapon against Big Mama's children. This essay will journey into the heart of that darkness. We will explore how Big Mama's magnificent estate was slowly and systematically stolen. It is a complex tale, woven from threads of history, law, finance, and deception. It is a story of a powerful shadow government playing a long and patient game. We will unravel the intricate steps they took to seize control. We will see how they turned guardians into tenants on their own land. This is not just a history lesson. It is a revelation of a hidden truth, a truth that affects every person living on this land today. The theft of an estate as vast as a continent does not happen overnight. It is not a simple smash and grab. It is a slow, methodical process, like a poison seeping into the soil. The whispers of this grand larceny echo through forgotten treaties and obscure legal doctrines. It began with the end of open warfare. In 1791, a fragile peace was brokered. Big Mama's people, weary of conflict, agreed to a new arrangement. They agreed to make the newcomers trustees over their land. This was meant to be a temporary measure, a way to ensure peace and protection for 200 years. This trust was a monumental agreement. It was a sacred promise. The newcomers, forming a new government, were given a fiduciary duty. They were obligated to manage the lands and resources for the benefit of Big Mama's descendants. The Supreme Court itself would later formalize this concept, calling it a trust responsibility. This legal framework established the federal government as the guardian of the estate. But a guardian can be faithful, or it can be corrupt. This trust, intended as a shield, would slowly be forged into a cage. The very laws meant to protect the inheritance became the tools of its plunder. The timeline is crucial. The 200-year trust, signed in 1791, should have ended in 1991. However, complex legal and financial maneuvers extended its reach. The creation of the Second Bank of the United States and other financial instruments stamped the agreement into the future, pushing the final date to 2012. Throughout this long period, the Conjure War continued. It was a war fought not on battlefields, but in courtrooms and boardrooms. A war of paper, of legal fictions, and of economic subjugation. The trustees slowly morphed into masters, and the beneficiaries became dependents in their own home. The story is one of profound betrayal. It is a Gothic tale of how a promise of protection became a license for theft. The government, acting as trustee, began to see the estate not as a sacred charge, but as a source of collateral. The natural wealth, the minerals in the ground, the timber in the forests, and the very land itself were catalogued and appraised. This was not for the benefit of the original owners. It was to secure the debts of the trustee. A shadow government was playing a dark game, and Big Mama's estate was the prize. To understand this theft, we must follow the paper trail: contracts, deeds, and titles that became paper chains. We'll explore how real money was replaced by debt, and how the Federal Reserve's creation changed everything. Most people believe they own their homes, but they're really tenants, paying rent to a hidden landlord. By shedding light on these dark mechanisms, we can begin to reclaim what was lost. In the late 18th century, America was torn by brutal conflict, clashes of civilization's spirit and visions for Big Mama's estate. Exhausted, both sides forged a Fragile Truce in 1791, a pause, not a surrender. The newcomers became trustees, promising fairness, but the battlefield shifted from muskets to contracts. The ancient war was not over. It had simply gone underground. In 1791, a trust was forged. Big Mama's people as both grantors and beneficiaries, the government as trustee. The estate, West Amexim's vast lands, became the trust's asset. But placing the land in trust changed everything. Sovereign birthright became a managed estate. The trust wasn't a shield, it was a holding pen, quietly consolidating power for centuries. The trustee's sacred duty was to protect and prosper Big Mama's estate for her descendants. But instead, the promise of protection gave way to exploitation. Lands were carved up and sold, shattering communities and making families dependent on a suffocating bureaucracy. The trust meant for prosperity became a source of poverty, its duty not just betrayed, but inverted. After the wars of musket and sword, a new Conjure War began, fought in courtrooms and mines, with paper and perception. The shadow government twisted laws, recasting the land's original owners as wards of the state. Through legal sorcery, the trust's reckoning was pushed to 2012, shrouded in mystique. Big Mama's children were left fighting shadows, trapped in a legal maze designed to dispossess them. The Conjure War could not be won with spells and whispers alone. It required tangible tools, paper, not steel, woven into society's fabric. A complex web of law and finance quietly transferred wealth and redefined reality, ensnaring people in a paper world. Piece by piece, this system centralized power, preparing the way for the ultimate tool of control. To control an estate, you must control its money. The greatest deception was trading real money, gold and silver, for paper promises. The shift from substance to paper let the shadow government create money from nothing. Today's dollars are debt, not value. Inflation is the hidden tax, quietly stealing your wealth with every transaction. The Federal Reserve Act of 1913 created a private central bank, giving it control over the nation's money supply. This private corporation's goal: profit for its owners, not the public. The government pledged the entire estate and everyone in it as collateral for endless debt. The Federal Reserve now holds a lien over all the land. The trap was sprung. Once, land was owned absolutely, an allodial title, free from taxes or superior claims. Today, you receive a title deed, not true ownership. Property tax proves you're a tenant, not an owner. The state holds the real title, and you pay for the privilege to stay. The contract is a tool of control. In every major transaction, you're led to believe you're accepting an offer, but you're actually making one. The real estate agent's forms? They flip the power. Your signature becomes the asset, and you become the debtor. The original signed contract is kept by them, leveraged for profit, while you're left with a copy and the obligation. This bait and switch happens with every bill, fine, and tax notice. Each is an offer, and your payment is a counter-offer they accept. The debt is never truly paid, just shifted, growing the public burden. Every signature, every payment, weaves you deeper into a system designed for their benefit, not yours. The Federal Reserve's creation marked the ultimate betrayal. Big Mama's estate, the nation's wealth, pledged as collateral for endless government debt. The government, unable to pay, mortgaged the land, resources, and people to private bankers. The 14th Amendment was twisted to bind everyone to this debt, making you a co-signer on a loan you never agreed to. Now, the people are tenants, not owners, working to pay off debts created in secret. The land is lost, not by war, but by signatures and legal sleight of hand. The estate's wealth now flows to the bankers, not the people. To control the pledged estate, the shadow government created a legal fiction for every person, a strawman, your name in all caps. This entity is registered at birth, monetized as a bond, and used as collateral for national debt. All bills and legal notices target the strawman, not you, but your condition to respond and accept liability. By acting as the strawman, you become surety for its debts, trapped in their system. The strawman is the linchpin, control it, and they control you. You pay for the fiction, while the real you remains unseen. Attunement, submitting to a new master, happens every time you use their currency register property or pay taxes. These acts acknowledge the government and its creditors as your landlords. Property taxes are the clearest proof. You're a tenant, not an owner, paying rent for your own land. Each payment is a silent act of allegiance, cementing your status as a vassal. The system thrives on manufactured consent, not force. The people have forgotten their birthright, accepting tenancy in place of true ownership. The theft is recorded in county offices. Every deed filed perfects their claim, not yours. Legal descriptions replace real land, turning property into tradable fiction. The county recorder's office is the engine of dispossession, enabling taxes, liens, and foreclosures. Filing a deed secures their interest, not your protection. Some fight back using commercial law to assert claims, but it's a battle fought on their paper battlefield. The archives hold the evidence of the estate's dismemberment. The economy is a rigged monopoly game. Debt always grows, and the bank always wins. Federal Reserve notes are promises, not payment. Debts are only discharged, never paid. Mortgages and taxes keep you running in place, never owning, always owing. The system's goal is total control through perpetual debt. The people, busy surviving, rarely challenge the rules. Big Mama's estate is lost not by chance but by design. One signature, one payment at a time. The shadow government mortgaged the estate, trapping people in a web of contracts. To profit, they built a machine powered by debt, labor, and inflation. Debt fuels the system, labor turns the gears, and inflation is the toxic exhaust, draining wealth and keeping people in perpetual obligation. In this cycle, your efforts are siphoned away before you can ever get ahead. You may not feel like a slave. You receive a paycheck. You can buy things. But look closer at the chains. Evidence of your economic slavery is found in the deductions from your paycheck. Payments made to service the public debt. The moment you apply for a social security number, you enter their system and agree to help pay off the trustee's infinite loan. Your tax payments go to a private bank, not to public services, enriching a hidden banking cartel. You are an economic slave on a plantation called America. Its fence is invisible, made of debt and legal fictions. Inflation is the most insidious tax. You pay it without knowing. As new money is printed, every dollar you hold loses value. Your savings and retirement are silently eroded, while those closest to the money printer benefit first. This invisible tax keeps you running in place, always chasing a currency designed to lose its worth. Taxation's real purpose, as even insiders like Beardsley Rummel admit, is to redistribute wealth, not for justice, but for control. Through progressive taxes, the government acts as master planner, deciding who keeps what, moving wealth to maintain order. These taxes prevent families from building independent wealth, ensuring power stays with the state and its partners. In the end, the planners simply redistribute the dwindling pieces of Big Mama's stolen estate. The open wars for the estate may have ended centuries ago, but the conflict never ceased. It merely shape-shifted, moving from the physical battlefield to the courtroom. Today, the hidden war against the trustee is being fought with motions, filings, and lawsuits. Big Mama's descendants, having endured decades of blatant mismanagement and theft, are now holding the federal government accountable in its own courts. This new battlefield is one of paper and precedent, where the weapons are legal arguments, and the prize is the recovery of losses from centuries of betrayed trust. The war has come full circle, using the trustee's own legal system as a weapon against it. These lawsuits are monumental undertakings. They require immense resources and years of painstaking research to prove the government's failure in its fiduciary duty. Tribes and individuals have brought numerous cases against the federal government, seeking to recover billions of dollars lost through mismanagement. These legal battles document a tragic history of resources sold for pennies on the dollar, of royalties that were never collected, and of trust funds that were raided or simply vanished. Each case is a chapter in the long, dark story of the estate's plunder, a formal indictment of the trustee's corruption laid bare for the public record. These legal challenges represent more than just a fight for money. They are a fight for recognition and justice. They are an attempt to force the trustee to admit its wrongdoing and to acknowledge the immense harm caused by its actions. While some cases have resulted in significant settlements, no amount of money can truly compensate for the loss of ancestral lands or the systematic destruction of a people's economic sovereignty. The victories, while important, often feel hollow. They are concessions from a system that still holds all the ultimate power, a token payment to quiet the restless beneficiaries. The legal warfare is a slow, grinding process, a war of attrition designed to exhaust the plaintiffs. The government, with its vast resources, can drag out cases for years, even decades. It uses every procedural trick and legal loophole to deny, delay, and diminish its liability. The beneficiaries are forced to fight an enemy with a bottomless war chest, an enemy that writes the very rules of engagement. This new battlefield, while less bloody than the old one, is just as brutal in its own way. It is a testament to the enduring spirit of Big Mama's children that they continue to fight at all. Amidst the darkness of the ongoing legal battles, a faint light has begun to emerge. This light is the principle of self-determination. Over the last century, there has been a slow but significant shift in policy, granting the original inhabitants of the estate more control over their own resources and governance. Acts like the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934 began to reverse the destructive policies of allotment. They allowed tribes to form their own governments and manage their own internal affairs. This was a crucial first step in breaking the chains of dependency that the trustee had so carefully forged over the years. This movement towards self-determination is a direct challenge to the trustee's absolute authority. It is a declaration that Big Mama's children are not incompetent wards of the state, but sovereign peoples capable of managing their own destinies. By exercising their right to self-governance, they are beginning to rebuild the nations that were shattered by the trustees' policies. They are creating their own constitutions, their own laws, and their own economic enterprises. They are slowly taking back the power that was stolen from them, one community at a time, building pockets of sovereignty within the larger occupied estate. However, this newfound control does not erase the past, nor does it completely free them from the trustees' grip. The federal government still looms large, maintaining significant oversight and often creating bureaucratic hurdles to tribal projects. The legacy of mismanagement has left many communities impoverished, lacking the capital and infrastructure needed to fully capitalize on their own resources. They are rebuilding from a position of profound disadvantage, trying to heal generational wounds while still living under the shadow of their unfaithful guardian. The path to true sovereignty is fraught with obstacles. Despite these challenges, the rise of self-determination is the most significant hope for the future of the estate. It represents a fundamental shift in consciousness, a reclaiming of identity and power. It is the practical application of the knowledge that they are the true owners of the land. This movement is not just about managing resources. It is about restoring a culture, a spirit, and a way of life. It is the slow, patient work of mending the sacred hoop that was broken. It is a glimmer of hope that the long night of the trustees' rule may one day come to an end. While some fight in the courts, others battle in the hidden world of commercial law, specifically the Uniform Commercial Code, or UCC. The UCC is the Bible of commerce, the set of laws that governs all commercial transactions. Warriors file UCC-1 statements and liens, aiming to reclaim their property and challenge the system's control. It's a high-stakes paper war, fought by those who refuse to be tenants any longer. The fight for Big Mama's stolen estate is more than land or money. It's a spiritual and psychological war to awaken the people. It's about remembering we are the true beneficiaries, not perpetual debtors. To reclaim what was lost, we must withdraw consent, challenge the fictions, and stand in our natural rights. The fight for the estate is the fight for our minds, and that is a war we can win. Through centuries of shadow and deceit, we trace the theft of Big Mama's estate, a land once held in sacred trust. The government, meant to protect, betrayed its duty, turning trust into a multi-generational conspiracy. Money was corrupted, wealth stolen through inflation, and people bound by invisible chains of debt. The estate was lost not to war, but to a legion of lawyers, bankers, and politicians playing a long, dark game. To know the truth is to face a choice, retreat into illusion, or walk the difficult path of awakening and action. The system runs on your belief and compliance. Withdraw your consent, and the machine grinds to a halt. This journey begins with knowledge, your shield and sword. Awaken, act, and join the quiet rebellion that can overthrow the empire of lies. What is the ultimate goal of this struggle? It is the restoration of Big Mama's estate, our birthright as free and sovereign people. This is the hope that fuels our fight, a new dawn after a long starless night. We fight to honor our ancestors, free ourselves, and secure a true inheritance for our children. The dawn is coming.